Hey, my name is Milan, and in this video I want to show you how you can run the YARP reverse proxy as a standalone container in your microservices system. Support for this was added only recently and it's still in preview, so let's check out what we can do with the YARP container. If we take a look at the YARP website, you're going to see that it got a glow up. The documentation website looks a lot cleaner now, and you can also see some examples of using YARP to handle billions of requests per day at Microsoft. So we definitely have proof that YARP works at scale. There's also a quick start section showing you how to configure YARP inside of your .NET application and deploy it as a separate component. You just need to configure the YARP services, load the configuration, and then map the reverse proxy. Here's what a configuration file looks like. But we're going to take a look at our example in just a moment. But what's new is the YARP container support. So now you can run YARP as a standalone container. Now I'm noting that this is still in preview, but I wanted to check it out and see what it looks like. We can run YARP using this Docker command. By default, it's listening on the port 5000, and we just have to map the YARP config file, which is the JSON document you can see here, to the container so that YARP can function. Now, what is the point of having a reverse proxy? I'm going to illustrate this with a quick example. Let me add a client application. Let's say we have a web app, and then let's add a couple of application servers. So let me just distribute them here. And let's also color code them to make this more interesting. So these are our application servers. For the client application to be able to communicate with them, it has to know the address of all of the application servers. Now in our example we have just 3, but in reality this could be much more. So we're moving a lot of the responsibility for the communication part into our client applications. What we can do instead is introduce what's called a reverse proxy. Now I'm going to rename this to actually say reverse proxy. And what's going to change here is we're going to move the communication aspect towards the application servers into the reverse proxy. So now the proxy is going to be sending the requests to the application servers and processing the responses, and the client is only going to be sending requests to the reverse proxy. Let me find a suitable color for this. I think this one should work. So as I said, the communication now is a lot simpler. The client just needs to know about the address of the reverse proxy, and it sends the request, and the reverse proxy takes care of running the request to the appropriate application server. Now obviously we can extend this to implement support for load balancing. We can move authentication or rate limiting or caching into the reverse proxy and handle a lot of cross-cutting concerns. Another thing this allows you to do is to create what's called a private network, where we can hide the application servers from the outside world, and they can only be accessed by the reverse proxy. So if a client were to find out the address of the application server and try to send a request, this is going to fail. Let me add an X to represent this failure. So this is why reverse proxies can be useful. Now let's see how YARP helps us implement this. I have an example application with 3 services: the products API, the sales API, and the users API. The API surface is very simple. We just have a couple of endpoints for creating a user, creating a product, and then making a purchase or a sale for a given user and for a given set of products. I don't want to spend too much time on this as it's just basic CRUD. But let me show you an example endpoint. For example, here are the user endpoints, and we have a post endpoint for creating a user, and then a get endpoint for fetching a user from our database. And you'll find similar endpoints in the other 2 services. What I do want to focus on is the YARP configuration. So here's the same example as from the YARP quick starts, where we are configuring the YARP reverse proxy services, loading the configuration file from the respective section in our application settings, and then we are exposing the reverse proxy routes based on the configuration. Now, in order for this to work, we needed to install the YARP library. So if I take a look at the NuGet packages, you can see the YARP reverse proxy, and I'm using the latest version. So in this example, we're just using YARP as a proxy, but it also has built-in support for rate limiting, which we have in .NET, authentication and authorization. You can configure it to use caching and a lot more. Now let's take a look at our configuration file to see what the YARP setup looks like. We want to focus on the reverse proxy section, and here we have 2 distinct components: the routes and the clusters. The clusters actually represent our downstream services. So I have the users cluster for the users API, the product cluster for the respective products API, and then the sales cluster for the sales API. And I'm mapping the addresses inside to the internal internal addresses available in the Docker network. Now, if you're wondering how I came up with these addresses, it's all configured inside of the Docker Compose file. I'm using the service name as configured here, and then the internal port of the container, which is 8080 for HTTP or 8081 for HTTPS. So now that we have our clusters, which represents our downstream services, we can configure our routes. So for each of the clusters, I will have one respective route. So you can see the sales route, the products route, and the users route. And inside of it, we have to associate it with the respective cluster. This is how YARP knows where to proxy the request. So in this case, the cluster ID is the users cluster. Then we have the product cluster and the sales cluster respectively. And then we can configure how we are going to match requests coming for this cluster. So I'm going to say if anything comes on the path users API /catch-all, and this is a wildcard that's going to just catch anything after this route. And then I can also configure how to transform this request when I'm proxying it to the downstream service. In this case, I want to omit the prefix users API and just use everything after that in the request path. I'm doing the same for the products route and the sales route, and this is all I need to configure proxying to my downstream services. Now I'm going to start this example and show you how this works. Let's say I first want to send a post request to the products API to create a product, and I'm going to use the route of my proxy, which is HTTP localhost 5000. So let's send this request and we get a response back with our new product ID. If I fetch all of the products, I can see which products I have in the system. So I have products with the ID 1 and 34. I can also create a user or fetch one to see if it exists. And I have a user with the ID of 1, and then I can try to create a sale for this user, and I can specify the user ID and the product IDs in an array. So this is going to create my sale, and you will notice that all of these requests are flowing through our reverse proxy. If I open up the logs for the proxy, you can see how YARP is proxying the request to the respective downstream services. So in this case, the products API, then the users API, and finally the sales API. But for all of this to work, we actually had to write a lot of code and also deploy another .NET application. However, the YARP container changes all of this. So let me show you how we can run this. All I'm going to do is just run the YARP container as another service in my Docker Compose setup. So I have to change the image that I'm using here, and I'm going to use the official YARP image from Microsoft. I'm noting again that this is still in preview, which is why we have nightly here, and I'm specifying to always use the latest version. Now in this case, we won't need the build context, so I can comment this out, and by default, YARP listens on the port 5000, so I will have to update this. Now, I'm also going to comment out the gateway API service in my Docker Compose override file. So let me comment this out. And one last thing we have to configure here in the YARP container is mapping the configuration file into the correct path in the container. So I'm going to specify volumes, and I'm going to map the app settings JSON file in the gateway API, which I already have here, so I don't have to create it again. And the correct route where you should map it is etc/YARP config. So with just these changes in place, I'm going to rerun my application. And if I take a look at Docker desktop, you can see my gateway API is running here, and the image it is using is .NET Nightly YARP latest. Let's go into the container, and you're going to see similar logs like you would get from a .NET application. So now let's try actually sending some requests to see if the proxying still works. So let's send another request to fetch all of the products, and it seems that we are getting a response back. I can also create another product. I can register another user. I can fetch my users by the ID. So let's specify 34 for the new user. And I can also fetch the sales for my user. I can even switch the ID. And this user doesn't have any sales. So let's go ahead and quickly create one. And now I should be able to get a response back. So now let's take a look at the logs from the YARP container. And you can see that we are getting the same results. So our container is now working as a reverse proxy. All we had to do is just use the correct Docker image, expose the appropriate port, and provide our configuration file. We didn't have to deploy another .NET application with YARP installed and configured, so you can see how the YARP container simplifies this considerably. Now for the time being, the documentation for this is almost non-existent, but I'm confident that this is going to improve, and is definitely a step in the right direction, because now we can use YARP in a similar fashion to how you would use some more popular reverse proxies, for example Nginx, which you can just run as a container and provide a respective configuration file. So it's great that the YARP team is moving in that direction. If you want to learn more about YARP, I recommend that you watch this video next, where we're going to configure it to work as a load balancer to help us scale our application. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Check out my courses to improve your skills, and until next time, stay awesome.